feel better. Here, let me drink my little.
Yeah.
Go light. We're going.
Yeah, all the kids were out of school, so a lot of grandkids and nieces and nephews around here, and now they're back at school, and it's just been dead quiet. It's just like,
Oh,
wow.
without the kids around, except for the explosion of just authoritarian fucking psychopathy in the United States in the last 5 days.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, we jumped the shark for sure.
These last 2 days have been.
Yeah. I'm like an hour and a half away from Minneapolis. I'm talking to a guy at 2:00 today. I'll put a pitch for that, but he's right in the thick of it. He's going out to a protest, so I'll be talking to him, boots on the ground in Minneapolis at 2:00. And yeah, we didn't send our kids to school yesterday. We're just like, fuck this, and bullshit stuff. I mean, just like, I just don't want to. I didn't sleep the night before, so I'm just like, I don't want to sit in my house and just freak out. I'm just gonna have my kids here.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, what do you? I think it's important. And Melissa was talking to Melissa yesterday, and she's like, my neighbor was a former Black Panther, and she was telling me, good. Now you white people know what it feels like to be anything other than white in the United States.
Yeah.
Congratulations. We've been living with this shit forever anyway.
Right.
This is not new to us. We have to train our kids, our sons, our daughters, how to react when there's Melissa. Credit to Melissa for this insight. But she's, she was telling me her neighbor had to, they have to train their sons and daughters how to react when they get pulled over, because the police will fucking shoot them like that. Like, this is a white people wake up.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's what this is. This is the white people wake up. Everybody else who's lived in this country and knows what America is, I guarantee you can find just as much horrific body cam footage of Black men and Hispanic men being shot without cause all over, the Axion, body cam, interwebs, if you wanted to. Just like what we saw happen to, Renee Nicole Good yesterday. It's not that it's new. It's that she was white. A white woman, and that's why this is as big as it is. Unfortunately, that makes me upset to hear it that way, and to say it, but we have to say it how it is. But I don't know. I mean, I watched Renee Nicole Goodman die 7 times just from every angle, so that just so I could witness what happened.
Of course.
Just for everyone who's seen that video, and you do have to watch it at least once, because you have to understand exactly what we're looking at here in this country. I don't care if you're comfortable or not. But
that's why I shared the video that was sent to me.
Yeah, I shared yours too in my list.
I felt like everybody needed to see
it.
I watched yours, Arturo. It's the first one I watched.
Yeah,
and Jen Budd had a good one too, and a really good angle, so you could see it clear. I was going to say though.
If not for the narrative, if not for the video, we would have to be believing the government narrative.
Yes.
And what people are starting to see right now is just how crooked law enforcement in this country is, how much they lie, how much they try to frame narratives before. And for example, that agent will be held he won't talk to investigators for 72 hours after the shooting. That's part of their union contract. By that time, he's meeting with lawyers, union bosses, and all this stuff, and they're framing narratives. So when he does go talk to investigators, he has a story. You know what I mean? And anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off, Walter. Go ahead, man.
No, Walter, please. Yeah.
Well, let me say, I just posted a note today too, and it says, you know what I'm not seeing? I'm not seeing a bunch of ICE agents denouncing this shooting. So that tells me 100% of them are fucking dirty. And these people are like, oh, Walter, you can't say all of them. Where are they? Where are they saying we're not going to do this? They're not doing it. They're all complicit.
A lawmaker on Threads said some of these agents are good people. My response to that is good people don't join ICE. Period. Good people don't join agencies where you hunt other humans. Period. Anybody who wants to hunt another human for whatever reason is not a good person. So don't tell me that some ICE agents are good people. They break up families. And I mean, everything, what you saw ICE do, Border Patrol has been doing, and that's who did it. It was a BORTAC agent, right? Border Patrol Tactical Unit. Why does Border Patrol need a tactical unit? Right? When the Uvalde massacre happened, they had Border Patrol tactical unit snipers on the scene who apparently had the shooter in their sights and didn't shoot him. Why does Border Patrol need snipers? I mean, I'm glad they were there that day, but they didn't do any good. So you have to look at these things. Border Patrol, there's a video. I did an article on this a year or two ago. Jen Budd and I found a video of Border Patrol training to quell protests. And the protesters in their little marketing video all had anti-Trump signs and Border Patrol shooting tear gas. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like we haven't seen this coming. Like what they did to that lady, I'm sorry that anybody died, period. Right. It was just horrific to see. But if this wakes white people up to the reality of what we said in 2020 and why defund the police got so loud, this is why.
Yeah.
This is why you gave Border Patrol or ICE $175 billion and impunity, and this is what they do.
And they're asking for more.
There's a comment here, guys. I wanna address because I wanna say, Jennifer Stephen Adams. I think you are very correct. The guy who shot her was pissed. Sorry, the guy who shot Nicole Good was pissed because the woman didn't obey an order. It was about control, not self-defense. I entirely agree.
Entitled little
these guys they're pathetic, weak men. This is the weak, tiny, the tiny ego, weak, insecure,
emotionally stunted.
Not bandit club, where you go out and you kill people. Because clearly at this point, it's not even about Border Patrol because you're shooting people in the fucking central United States.
Right.
There's no fucking immigration. Border Patrol does not operate near Minneapolis. That is not their fucking job. That is not in their purview. You can't justify it. And look, like I said, I watched her die 7 times. Okay. I can tell you the most, and I'm serious. The worst part of that video for me is not her dying, but the way that man holstered his sidearm, turned, and walked away like he had squashed a fly. Like he could have given. Has killed people before.
No, and listen.
Someone mentioned this in the live we're talking about with Melissa. You don't do that and walk away. No tremor, no shaking hands, nothing. He's a killer.
Right, and killers. The analysis done by the Washington Post noted that it looked like when he walked up to the car and he was walking away, his camera was open. So he went and took a picture before walking away. And that's the part that struck me. I read that last night in an article. I posted it on my notes, and they went through an analysis of who got it right and who didn't. It was a journalist outlet that focuses on media stuff. And they noted that they pointed out that the Washington Post in their analysis of the video, they could see his camera was open. And that's not the first time that happened. Cops do that, and they share the pictures of the people they kill in little group chats. They got busted in Louisville. They've been busted this a bunch of times. Everything these federal agents are doing.
These group chats. How do you as somebody get I don't know in court, but when you say there's they need to look at evidence, right? They say, well, we need to look at this. How do you subpoena those group chats? That's something they should be doing, right?
Well, they have protections though. Didn't they give themselves all these fucking obscene protections in the Patriot Act? And we've got the judicial system is stacked with white supremacists too. So then it's just luck of the draw. You might get a straight up Klansman in a black robe. And I keep saying this to people when it's like, look, we're fighting the Confederacy. These people are like, America, this isn't us. This is us. This is the United States. We've been fighting white supremacy since the first day. The reason Christian groups say, well, it's always been a Christian nation, knowing damn well it's verifiably not been a Christian nation, they substitute in their heads white supremacy for Christian. That's why they do it, because it has always been a white supremacy nation. Then you say this to other white people, then they're just like, they're like surprised by this. And like, this is what happens when you don't teach all the atrocities of American history, like the Tulsa Race Massacre and the Matanza and the birthing fucking farms that they did where they raped women, raped black women so they could sell the babies. I mean, we had child sex trafficking presidents, the first 10 or so. We call them the founding fathers in reverence to the idea of patriarchy. They're fucked up people. This is all fucked up. And you tell this to white people, they're like, well, I don't think it's white supremacy. And the other part of that is they're emotionally stunted toddlers. Then you get, and they're like the biggest morons ever, you know, and then we get imbeciles like Schumer who think he's up against an evil genius, and he acts like Charlie Brown and Lucy, letting her pull the football out from under his foot every fucking time. Somebody needs to just yell at him and say, it's white supremacy that we have to obliterate, you dumb fuck.
Well, you know, I want to share this because I noticed this yesterday, the day after. I'm trying to find this footage, okay? Because like I said, there's multiple angles. I'm trying to find this. In a normal standard Google search, the first 3 pages were all Fox News reports.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it was Fox, this place. There's absolute censorship, 100%. They called everybody. And they're like, the best video I found was on a Argentinian subreddit. Okay. Like seriously.
Wow.
I had to go to a Spanish, as in Spain, subreddit. I had to go to a Argentinian subreddit, and then I ended up going to a German subreddit to find the fucking videos. Why the hell do I have to go to foreign countries' subreddits to find unmanipulated, unedited footage without Fox hosts in front of it saying, well, she was parking her car at an odd angle. That's what we know. Like, what the fuck? Why are you even speculating about how her car is parked? Shut the fuck up. She got murdered.
Yes.
Like, what even is that?
And Nick had that altered video he'd found on X or something where, you know, they made it look like it's like they added a set of legs in front of the car.
Saw that. Yeah, and then, you know, one of the things that went viral too on some platforms was, and you're talking about censorship, is people saying, you know, I'm in Colombia, we saw the videos, we know what happened. I'm in Brazil, we saw the video, we know what happened. You know, and they name the country they're in, and that's how they follow it up, is we saw the video, we know what happened.
The world sees. We see.
Right. Yeah, no, and I mean that's what they're clapping back on, is the censorship here in the United States, because they're seeing it. You know, other people are seeing that. You know, I hear it from people in other countries all the time. They're like, y'all's news is so weird.
Yes,
like, y'all's news doesn't tell the story. Like, we know everything about y'all. Y'all don't know anything about us. Like, y'all's news sucks. You know, and you know they lie by omission all the time. You know, they'll try to frame a narrative and leave.
It's because it's literally like, it's not good at reporting on the UK. They're not good at that because you know, not as good because they're UK based, right? But they do great reporting on just about everywhere else in the world, right? Because you've got that filter. Like, guys, I really want to hammer this. Stop looking at anything if it's an American news network. Just stop. Just
a lot of times I go.
Stop wasting your time. You know, like don't. It's not worth the time or the effort or the energy that you're putting in to get information. That you're gonna that you might as well just go to either someone you trust on Substack, one of the individual independent reporters, independent media people like me, Arturo or Walter, who are going to do the work, who are going to get a real source, or go and find it yourself. Go to start at Reuters or start at, you know, the Guardian. For some reason, I find
a lot of times I go to France 24.
Yes, France 24.
They're syndicated like the AP. They're a news wire like the AP, and they provide more context most of the time.
And this illustrates too the need to learn a foreign language. When I went to Peru and I started reading news sources abroad in Spanish, it's just sort of like, but take another step back. consider what we're up against here, because the whole infrastructure of the United States makes it impossible to learn foreign language. We don't teach it in public schools. I mean, it's like deliberately omitted. That's because of control. That's not. And then they say, well, if you should thank these people because you're not speaking German. I would love to be able. I speak a little German. I'd love to be better at it. But acting like thank people because you don't know a foreign language is something you should be grateful over. What the fuck? That's control. They control. They want, and it's like absurd because it's like they can't restructure reality, right? And it's just. This is another part of the white supremacist mindset, because they're this grievance, toxic mentality that can't even perceive the world because they only want to perceive their own sense of superiority. And since literally everything in the world defies their superiority, they get this contorted view where they try to manifest things that never even happened. There was that line they said where they tried to blame Venezuela for stealing oil that they thought rightfully belonged to the United States. That's craziness. That's the mind virus of white supremacy, because they believe that oil was given to the white man to restore their glory after the end of the Civil War. It's this insane thing. And this is all that history that's buried in the United States. I was reflecting how it's hard to talk about the truth of what happened in this country because it's so just horrible that people think you're making it up. Go read some history books, see what actually happened, because we've all just been brainwashed into thinking this country's been good when it has not been.
You know what I think it is? I think they could read a history book, or they could go on Netflix or play Call of Duty, or play Clash of Clans on their phone, or I don't know, go shopping on Amazon, or literally do anything else other than what makes them uncomfortable. Until get this, but they have no money to distract themselves with anything anymore, and that is where it falls apart. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. People are spending their last dime on their distractions. They still are.
Yep.
It shows just how successful they were in turning an entire country of over 300 million people into a bunch of consumerist robots.
Yeah.
But it only works as long as you have the money to distract yourself.
Valid point. Yeah.
And it just really shows me how much people will spend every dollar, every dime to not fucking know what's going on because they don't like to be uncomfortable. They've created a real tangible escape that's in your hands all the time. And it's very easy to do that, but it's going to stop. It's going to stop. There is a level of pain that will lead to a popular uprising. Yeah. But that's like, this is where I'm like, this is what I started telling people. Okay, midterms, I don't have a lot of hope for them. We should still fight for them like hell. I don't have a lot of hope for them unless we can get someone to really go and count some ballots, like go sign the petition from This Will Hold to get that recount in Wisconsin. You have to prove that these elections need to be better monitored because they're being manipulated.
I got her scheduled for in 2 weeks from now. She's coming on with me and Nick. This will hold it. So I'm so excited about that. More people got to know, but continue. I didn't mean to.
Sorry, I mean, I'll wrap it up here.
Pitching.
But this idea that there's this opportunity, right, where if you do something that I really haven't seen us be capable of doing. Okay, right? It's the idea of, yes, we could do it. Does the past 12 months give me a lot of confidence that Americans are going to be able to, I don't know, come together or push this situation through? Do I think that if the midterms were unmanipulated, we'd win in a landslide? Absolutely, 100%. But I watched November, the Democrats sweep, and then the next special election immediately in Tennessee, rampantly tampered with.
Yep.
Okay. So what do we need to realize as we're analytical? Wow, big win for Democrats, big win for democracy. Immediately, next election, major election manipulation, funky numbers in Tennessee. Yeah. Okay. So we responded, they responded, counter move. We need to think and realize that we are in a battle with these people to exercise our democratic rights, our freedom of expression, our freedom to vote. All right. If we don't do something to level the playing field, to regain our momentum and take away their tool, which is ballot
Cheating.
counting machines
Yeah.
and manipulating the numbers through the fucking interwebs or Starlink or whatever the fuck they're doing. We need to go to a hand ballot situation. So yes, because we switched because of the hanging Chad, now we need to switch back.
Yeah.
Because they built the infrastructure to manipulate tabulator-focused elections with the e-tabulators. Now, they have not built the infrastructure to manipulate hand-counted votes. These guys double down on everything.
Yeah.
That's why we keep losing.
Yeah.
Because we haven't doubled down on anything.
Yeah.
We've gotten kind of close, but they've doubled down on all of it. And unless we're willing to double down on something, it's not going to happen. So right now, I'm going to tell you guys that the scenario for me that I think this ends is popular uprising. Okay? That's where I'm sitting. That's where I'm sitting. Unless I see something really big change from the American people. I'm not going to sit here and tell people the things I think I'm tired of being optimistic in 2026. I'm just getting candor, guys. That's it. I'm no more.
Yeah, but how do you tackle the complacency? There are so many people, and we're talking the vast majority of this country that are just, we can fix it, it'll fix itself. That type of stuff. And life isn't so bad for me. What is the big deal? 90 million people didn't vote in the last election, or 80, 90 million, whatever. It's just, there's a lot of complacency in this country, and that's by design, right?
Yes.
One of the most successful voter suppression tools out there is convincing people that their vote doesn't matter. And in Texas, considering, for example, in Texas, we passed 20 something laws in the last 6 years related to voting, and I think only 3 weren't considered voter suppression laws. And part of that is creating confusion, sowing doubt, and all these things about the election, even though a lot of times our ballots are hand counted, because fucking Republicans, right? They know they can't win if it's an accurate, election. So they create all these laws and roadblocks, and they try to stop people from registering voters and suing these, all these agencies for trying to quote unquote sign up illegals to vote, which is just not true. They're just signing up Latinos. But of course, Latinos are illegals in Texas, so that's where that comes from. It's all this craziness, and then they instill fear on top of the doubt and on top of the confusion, and you end up having less people turn out to vote. Was it 8 million people stayed home in Texas in the 2024 election? Yeah, I honestly believe if everybody in this state voted, it would flip.
Yeah.
The problem is we,
overwhelming number to beat the manipulation.
Yes.
Right.
Because you have to
they can't outright full flip it. What they can do is they need the margins close enough that they can make it a close 51-50. Right. That's what it is. That's how they do it.
That's all they need. Right.
And like you're saying, well, let me just add, activating the resistance. That's kind of the phrase I've been going. How do we activate the resistance? And you just keep saying exactly what you're saying. When people are like, oh, in the next, it's like November. I'm worried about surviving tomorrow, asshole. It's like did you not watch the video? They shot Nicole or Renee Nicole Good in the face, a young mother in the face. We're not going to survive till tomorrow. And a lot of that, though, because unless we're actively out there getting people to rethink it, there's the mechanism of manipulation and media programming is going to work from now until November, and it's like you're talking about I keep coming to, now I've kind of come to an awareness of white supremacy. When I talk about it with other white people, I'm just casually talking, and they're just looking at me like, huh? And I'm sure Arturo knows this. When you talk to white people about, it's like, have you had this experience, Arturo? When you talk to white people about white supremacy, they give you this, huh? What are you?
I mean, anywhere in East Texas, they look at you like it's just not a thing, and you're just like, bro, you're living it over here. You're in
you've heard
well, it's like you are asshole.
Well, and it's like, who do you think wrote? It's like, you recognize Project 2025 existed, right? That was like a document this big. you recognize it's all these legal arguments. So they must have had lawyers. They must have had teams of lawyers sitting in warehouses somewhere, even though it's this gigantic anti-constitutional piece of shit. There's at least indications that they are aware of some of the legal theories of this country. They've had that education. You're aware that exists. So there's a giant infrastructure of fucking white supremacists who are remnants of the goddamn Confederacy who retain the fortunes of stolen labor and genocide and human slavery and child trafficking. They are fucking out there. They're sponsoring hate speakers like Charlie Kirk and all the other white supremacy groups. You just go take a deep dive on social media. You'll find openly Nazi groups, open white supremacy groups, open genocide groups. Zuri Stevens brought it up the other day. She says, white people in America are so afraid of becoming a minority, they're trying to deport anybody else. That's the idiotic thing behind all of this. It's not some grand scheme. They are just scared little emotionally stunted toddlers who took the vinegar that they were drinking in the Confederacy, sealed themselves up in a bottle, stuck a cork in it, and for the last 150 years, they turned that vinegar to poison. And now they're trying to poison all our children. They've taken control of the reins of our government. That's our enemy. Activate.
We celebrate Abraham Lincoln for freeing the slaves, but we don't criticize him for allowing the Confederacy to go unpunished and come back in, I don't know, let's see, 200 years later to over like 160 something years later to destroy the United States.
And
so
they actively celebrate his murder in places to this day in the South. There are places that actively celebrate the murder of Lincoln, the assassination. They carry the flag of his assassin proudly and fly it in southern states. Nobody talks about this.
There's places here in Texas that will celebrate Confederacy Day on Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah. They call it Lee King Day or something, right?
Yeah,
because they have the same birthday or something fucked up.
Yeah,
like that.
some shit. Yeah. It's crazy. It's just crazy. But yeah, no, you nailed it, Walter. I mean, this is essentially what this is, right? Even when you talk about what we're doing in Latin America and you know, in the South, for example, what is it? The majority of black people still live in the South. The South are the most voter suppressed states, always have been since Jim Crow, since the Reconstruction era. When you go back to Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union without ending slavery, he would. And instead of giving Abraham Lincoln credit for ending slavery, why don't we give credit to the enslaved who actually ended slavery? Yes. It didn't just, it was Haiti. It was all the uprisings in the Caribbean. It was all the uprisings here. They put pressure on the UK. It took the UK years to end slavery. 30 years later is the United States finally. And this was all because of pressure from the enslaved. Again, Abraham Lincoln, if he could have saved the Union without abolishing slavery, he would have. He had to abolish slavery due to international pressure, period. Yeah. White people are not the benevolent people here. They actually, how can you say white people freed the slaves when white people slaughtered each other over slavery? Are you serious? Like you can't make a general statement like that.
Money too. Like if you really think about it, it was over money because they didn't like that they made all the fucking money because they didn't pay for labor. And they didn't like that shit. They said it's not fair and we can't own slaves because we already did away with that shit.
Yep.
So you got to get rid of your slaves so you stop economically out competing us because we're a union. And so they killed each other. 500,000 people died in the United States in the Civil War because of not slaves, not freedom, not liberty. It was never about freeing the slaves. It was about fucking money because that's all it's ever been about. And it was only convenient to free the slaves when it was economically becoming a competition barrier for them to have to pay people. And they were having to deal with the fact that the slaves would escape and then come up there. Yeah. And you've got all the tension between the hunters and all that. But mostly it's about money. It's always about money.
It's always that. Yeah. I mean, when you look at
totally synchronicity. And I don't want you so my fiance was telling me all this astrology stuff the other day. And she's like, it just so happens that the stars or whatever in the exact same place that they were during the American Civil War.
Oh shit!
Wonderful, wonderful.
Like, fuck.
That's just what I
I
want to
believe in
hear.
astrology.
I'm gonna be the puppet master here. Let me puppet master Shane.
Wonderful.
Happening.
You gotta move like this when I go like that.
What were you saying, Arturo?
I was just saying that is wonderful. I don't believe in astrology anymore.
Yeah, dude, I'm over it. I'm over
I
it.
might explain a few things, but wait, the Confederacy is they're in charge of the U.S. government right now. Once we start slapping people in the face, and then like even the other day when I was on Blue Amp Medium, they were just kind of talking about, well, what do we do? Should we try to negotiate? And like, no, we obstruct everything they want to do. It's like, why are we even? This is not a debate. It's like if I see a Republican coming to the Capitol, I'm not even going to hold the door for him. I'm going to close the door and brace it so the fucker can't get in. I'm going to break a key off in the lock so they can't get in. Anything to delay votes. Just do something, you fucking Democratic assholes.
It finally appears that Democrats did something because they convinced 17 Republicans to vote on extending, and Marlon pointed, I did a live last night with Marlon, and he pointed something out too. A lot of these Republicans had to go home for the holidays, and they probably heard it from their constituents about healthcare.
Good. Oh, maybe,
and 17 of them came back and said, the rural people, the redneck folks over here are really mad about, because when we went to East Texas, that was a huge topic. Everybody was talking about their insurance was about to double, and they didn't talk trash about Trump, but they were worried about their insurance. And I'm pretty sure Marlon's right that these suckers went home and they got ripped for the insurance.
Do you think it's the same? Do you think it's the same level of coverage, or you think it was barely fucking enough to get these people to? Do you think they just passed some shit and said they did it and didn't actually do it?
Yeah.
Do you think they put like ICE immunity clauses in the fucking bill?
Probably
that shit, because what the fuck did they pass? When they don't pass things, they pass stuff with stuff inside of it that have effects entirely contrary to what the bill itself is supposed to do. If I'm trying to push through some shady shit, I put it in the ACA subsidy extension bill, and like, who knows what the fuck they just passed? And the Democrats, they're fucking limp.
I'm not sure. I think there's a rule preventing that in most cases. Except for like the NDAA and stuff, the Defense Authorization Act, there's certain places where you can do that. But no, you're right. There's always a lot of something. They reword. One of the tricks they do is, we want to remove a word from this paragraph in this bill and add this word, and then it reframes entirely what the bill means. Yeah. And you see a lot of that, and that creates doors. That opens a lot of doors for corruption and shit. And a lot of stuff for like racist moves, racist motivations too. When you look at our laws, the way they're written, right? They were written by racists, right? They call immigrants illegal aliens, all these things. There's a lot of racist terminology in there. And when a law doesn't work out a certain way, all they have to really do is change the wording in certain things to make it do what it wants to do, or what they want it to do. So there's a lot of things that really, when it comes to news and people's attention, it's hard to focus on every little thing Congress does. There's a lot. Yeah. I covered Congress for a little while, and man, if even if you avoid the drama in Congress, there's still just too much. It's just impossible to cover it all. And you can ask Pablo about this because he still works up at the Capitol. And it's just crazy because there's always something, like Marjorie Taylor Greene's anti-trans bill stuff, like that didn't get a lot of attention, and largely for that reason. It doesn't affect people like that, so they don't care, and that's the shame in all of it. With this individualist society type shit that we live in, but that's how we get where we are.
Our whole damn society is too tolerant of corruption, and that's why I'm not even focused on the government. I'm not even focused on the elections. I'm just trying to talk to people and be like, you know what? The police kill like 5 times as many people as mass shooters every year. Yep. Why do they even have guns? I mean, there's other countries that don't have guns. Fuck that shit. And it's like people just are resigned to thinking, well, corruption is just human nature. It's like, that's some white supremacy bullshit that's been programmed into your brain. It's like all these negative assumptions Americans have about human nature have been implanted into your mind to justify and enable white supremacy. Human beings can be good. Human beings are capable of having decent actions. We can have governments that work that are not corrupt, but we have to change the heart of every American. So it's just sort of like, okay, that's a bigger task than winning the election right now. But it's like Americans, they disregard the places where we can actually do productive work. It's like, oh, we don't have enough money for education and all these other things. It's like, we just signed over 170 billion for over 4 years for ICE. We give $1 trillion to the military. How about that money? And then they're just like, well, I can't even think about that. It's like, yes, you can. It's like, we don't have to waste that money there. Wake the fuck up.
You know what's insane is they give $1 trillion to the military, right? But the military, they can't do shit with that money. If you look at our actual military industrial complex, that has been paralyzed. It's been paralyzed for years. It's getting fucking worse.
And it's filled with fraud.
$1 billion behind on our weapons deliveries to Taiwan alone. You know how many places we've promised weapons to? You know how many weapons we need to replace ourselves? Because suddenly we're all fucking, going crazy. No one's talking about this shit, but let me tell you guys, right after Venezuela, where the fucking Delta Force Night Stalkers and shit are right now? They just went through the UK. They're making the way over towards Iran. You got the Ghost Rider gunships with the big ass fucking cannons. You got all the airlifters with their helicopters and shit. These people don't just go places, okay? The Night Stalkers, they don't just go on vacation to Europe or the Middle East. They don't transit like that. No, they're moving assets towards Iran right now. Right now. I'm gonna talk about this today in my report, but while we're here, look, it's just interesting. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, but why are they bringing the same dudes they just used in Venezuela, and then now they're taking them, they're backpacking them all the way over to towards Iran? And my question is, do they just have like some guys that they've tapped to do all their work, right? Like, hey, you guys are basically gonna be. Because if you look, Delta Force and them, they got all the ties, right, to the Pentagon. And if I go down my list of people and you end up going over towards the Secretary of the Army, and the Army has the closest ties with Trump and the regime and the technocracy, all that shit, right? And so I'm sitting here like, why are they going to Venezuela and then whoop, straight over to Iran, straight over to the area around Iran? I mean, we just don't move assets like that unless we're going to use them. It's costly.
Well, I saw a post, from Mike Huckabee, right? I was reading reports from international news, and, the Iranian government was saying that, a lot of the protests when they first started, they were economic based and they understood why people were upset and all these things. And then they started growing a little more violent, right? And you started seeing damage. And then Mike Huckabee posted this thing on Twitter about supporting the Iranian protests and how the Mossad was right next to you, like to the Iranians. The Mossad is side by side with you. And I'm like, wait a minute. Are you just telling me that Israeli forces are over there, stirring things up and making the protests worse and more violent? Because that's sort of what he suggested. And you start looking around and you start seeing it everywhere and, in different places. And it's like, okay, so now I understand there were protests, but the growth of these protests and the violence of these protests kind of reeks of outside, influence at the moment. I don't, so I don't know how to take these protests. You see that shit happen. It happened in Cuba, when they tried to do.
You guys caught this about Iran, but it's my belief that the underlying reason for this protest is that they're looking at 0 day for water, like entirely running out of water in Iran in the next couple months. Like it's actually so bad. Like I quite literally am going to say that I am more confident. I'm more confident that we're going to see Iran collapse, like as a country in 2026 than we see another regime change because of not the economy, but the water. This is a resource catastrophe because they mismanaged their water so badly that now you're going to have a city of 32 million people with no functioning reservoirs.
Right.
Which means, and just so like it's hard for us to even really comprehend the idea of turning on your faucet in the United States and not having water come out, right?
Yeah.
But they're in a desert. There's already not a lot of water. They're dependent on, a lot of ice melt and seasonal rain. And they're literally turning on their faucets and there's nothing.
Yeah, I read about this like 3 weeks ago or a month ago. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, the water shortages are crazy.
It's insane. I was looking at satellite images from 2025, and you can see.
Yes, I saw those.
Yeah, and you can see, dude, you like move the slider and it's like empty.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And so now I'm sitting here thinking the world is looking at this. You know what Iran has a shitload of? Uranium. A lot of it. A lot of it. They have an industrial base that's already built and tailored towards the manufacture of weapons and drones and missiles. You know what Israel really wants? All of those things. They want to use all of those things. And I'm not saying I'm just sharing my thoughts, right? I don't have any, I'm just sharing. This is what I'm looking at. And I'm thinking of what are the motivations in the region? What does Israel want? And, Netanyahu was just here briefing them on his next set of strikes. We're going to see that over the weekend, probably. The big escalation with Israel. But if Iran collapses too, guys, this is a broken arrow situation. We don't know. They probably do have a nuke somewhere.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. Right? I talked with Bob Dana about that. He's just
so?
Like, he's a nuclear engineer, and he told me, he was just straight up. He's like, they've been saying that all this time. And he was going through the whole process of enrichment. He's like a former weapons expert from the United States. And I was asking him, and he was just like, I was asking him questions, and he was just like, I don't remember. And I realized, that's top secret shit. That's like, okay, I'll ask another question. But he was just 100% confident they don't have it. He was all mad. He's like, everything they're saying in the news about their enrichment capacities is fucking wrong. He's like, I could walk you through the whole process of how it happens and what they're using it for. He's like, everything they're saying is complete bullshit. And it's just, that's another thing about the beauty of Substack.
Yeah, I don't know. We got extra stuff, but what are you guys' thoughts on that stuff? Because these are my things. These are undeveloped. These are like my.
This is how we build.
So I'd love your input on that.
I think you take a situation where a country is struggling with something and you exploit it, and that's how you destabilize countries. Venezuela's economy, no doubt, right, was struggling before the 2017 sanctions. Big problems. But when Trump came into office and put maximum pressure sanctions on Venezuela, they were all economic. And they were trying to exploit the economic downturn and turned it into an economic crash. You look at Iran, same situation, right? There's the water shortages. You exploit that. People are upset. So you flood social media and all this stuff to drive opinions and get people even angrier. When Russian bots come into our internet, they exploit racial tensions like crazy. Those are all destabilization mechanisms, and I hate to say it, most countries learn that from us because we've been doing that for 2 centuries. So Russia's just repaying the favor, and unfortunately, entirely too many people fell for it, and entirely too many people still buy into it. So a lot of these people that are celebrating murders like Ashley Babbitt or celebrating Charlie Kirk or celebrating what happened, to Renee in Minneapolis. It's Russian bots exploit that shit. Yeah. Bots from everywhere exploit that. Yeah. I can't say Russian only because I don't doubt that they're Chinese, Iranian bots, 100%. Malaysian bots. You know what I mean? They're everywhere.
Well,
absolutely.
Here's my take on it. And it's like with all these horrible things going on. I mean, they murdered all those people in Venezuela. My heart goes out to them.
Yes.
Too many Americans are they just don't even see that as loss of life because they're not white people. I mean, let's just say it. That's how racist America is. They don't even, how many number it is. The last I heard it was 80. It's probably 2 or 3 times that number. Just completely innocent people we stomped in and murdered. And then what you're talking about, the stuff going on in Iran is horrible. But we got to just remember we're being led by these fucking the remnants of the Confederacy again. And Arturo said it too. It's been 200 years. We got these morons who are thinking of what they need to do to colonize Mars. They're fucking toddlers, and that's honestly what's driving them. It's not anything. They've got this, it's my job to spread the seed of humanity throughout the universe. Fuck you, you fucking lunatic. And we're just kind of hiding it, and we refuse to recognize that that's how infantile their thinking is, because their actions are so horrific. They're inflicting death, but I mean, they're trying to build the data centers throughout everywhere. They can't even be bothered to build them under a city where it could create, heat for the city, and it could have that dual purpose. They're like so self-centered, but it's really, we have to kind of orient the reality of the atrocities that they're committing against their just absurd infantile lunatic motivation. And it's just kind of hard to put those two things together. But anybody who starts in the Confederacy and thinks they've worked themselves up into thinking they can own another human being as a slave, I mean, that's already, you're at a level, and it's like, we can't be told, oh, you have to understand where they're coming from. These people need to be institutionalized, whether it takes medication, it takes years of deprogramming. The whole United States has to go through this because we've never fully addressed that issue. And it's just gotten worse and worse and more toxic until we're at this point where they're literally willing to strip mine the entire planet so that they can build a rocket ship to fucking Mars. I mean, I don't even know how much more absurd I could fucking.
The funny thing about all this shit is it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, no shit.
It's actually never gonna happen because let me tell you something. In a perfect world, you want to inhabit Mars. If you want to colonize space, right? If let's do a little macro experiment. Let's zoom out, right?
Yeah.
So there's like the great filter, right? It's this idea that a society has to overcome, or a civilization has to overcome certain barriers to reach certain points. If you want to effectively colonize another planet, okay, which would be Mars, if you want to really do that, that means you need to figure out how to terraform it. That means you need to figure out how to get a shitload of material into orbit. You need to get the logistics. You need to have a supply chain and a access to resources and materials to build those things, to build the infrastructure in orbit, or the consistent up and down landers to get them there. Oh, we have Falcon 9. Those things fucking blow up 30% of the time. You want to put all of your shit on a rocket that could blow up and destroy all of the other shit you spent money. No, they're not. That's why they test them. But everyone that blows up is more expensive to replace that fucking thing every single time. The more they destabilize the world, the more. Look, yesterday I wanted to try and I bit off more than I could chew yesterday in my report. So I'm like, I'm going to cover I want to cover Africa. I want to cover Latin America. And so I'm fucking going, and I'm like, I want to cover.
Trying to cover two whole continents.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there during my thing. I'm like halfway through. I'm like spent 20 minutes talking about Sudan, and I'm like, oh fuck, dude, shit, we gotta go, right? Yeah. But if they're what they're doing is literally destabilizing the entire planet. Okay, like I'm what I do, guys. I spin the globe every day, and I'm like, oh fuck, where do I put it? Okay, so and
you put it on your belly
and right here. I want the jumpsuit. I want it. I want to wear it.
No. Mind virus. Tick, tick, tick.
And so like, look, you're gonna destabilize Africa, right? Where all of the shit comes from right now. And they're all going to go to war and kill each other. It's going to make it harder to get the shit you already don't have enough of. Also, we handed China the keys to the world when we just decided to let them do everything. And now the world is realizing that they handed China the keys. And that's a huge thing right now. No one talks about.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anyone other than myself, at least in this sphere, report on in American media, certainly mainstream, that we have now controls on our steel imports. China's put controls on steel and silver on top of just about every other rare earth element that they need to build their rocket ships to go to Mars. These are also the things. These are also the things that also happen to be needed to build the data centers, or the missiles, or the boats, or the ships. Or, I don't know, even a fucking skyscraper, because all the steel is made in China.
Yeah.
You think that might be a fucking problem? I don't fucking know.
But
I don't know. I'm on the rant. I can scream.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Where is our brains? Elon, you're not going to fucking Mars if you can't even build the fucking launch ramp for your rocket. You stupid motherfucker. That's why they want Greenland. Because they want rocks. All they care about is rocks. because they spent trillions of dollars on things they need rocks for, and they have no rocks.
And,
so they wasted trillions of dollars, and they're running around the world, bombing the shit out of everybody, trying to fucking topple regimes and meddling in Latin American elections to get rocks from fascists who they
want to go to Mars
all over the world. Fuck.
If they lifted sanctions on Cuba, they could get all the rocks they need because Cuba has a ton of aggregate material.
It's stone tools, baby. We're back to the Stone Age. Yeehaw! Yeah. But the other part too is like, just for some context, like think of Scientology. Like people actually believe that shit, and it's like, what is the story? Like an alien spacecraft crashed on the planet, and the ghosts
in a volcano.
And then like think of the Mormon religion, where it's like, what was it? They like dug up some secret testament Jesus left buried in Utah. I mean, people fucking believe insane shit. And then they covered up. They're like, well, let's respect their religion. It's like, if your respecting entails child sacrifice, fuck you, buddy. I don't respect that shit. If you want to like strip mine the earth so we can go to fucking Mars, dude, fuck you. And that's
out. And B's comment here, right? As you're going to Mars. Okay, so we take over the world. We get all the rocks. Who's going to process the rocks? China! It's fucking China! China processes the rocks!
Somebody got to, right?
The rocks!
Tink. We're back to stone tools.
I'm done. Sorry, Arturo. I just.
No, man.
Yeah, let's give Arturo a moment.
No, that it's just ridiculous to me. Like, again, I hate to keep going back to Venezuela, but it's just the topic of the discussion, all over the place. But if you really wanted Venezuelan oil, just lift the sanctions and take the deals that Maduro has been offering for like 10 years now. I mean, China took the deals. China has oil rigs in like Lake Maracaibo and like all over the country. They're brand new and shiny, and they're producing oil, and they're paying Venezuela the royalties that Venezuela wants. Like, why is that so hard?
Well,
why can't you just make the deal?
You just described exactly why the U.S. is in Venezuela. It has nothing to do with Maduro.
No, that's the thing. Marlon and I talked about this too. There's the BRICS factor, right? A couple of years ago when Marco Rubio was still in the Senate, he talked to the press. He was all in a panic about BRICS, talking about how BRICS limits our ability to sanction and might eliminate our ability to sanction as a country. And while BRICS doesn't necessarily have a currency right now, the thing with BRICS is they're allowed to trade in their own currency. So Russia can buy from China using their own currency. China can buy from Venezuela using their, vice versa, and they don't have to rely on the dollar. That has been weakening the dollar. Yep. And then BRICS also has two development funds like the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank that are funded by the 5 biggest players in BRICS, and they help. One fund is to help smaller countries through economic downturns, and the other fund is for development, like the IMF. Yeah. So they're undercutting Western power with that. So China, Russia, Iran, like all the BRICS, even Iran and all the BRICS countries are doing business with Venezuela, and the United States isn't, because the United States wants to sanction. So Maduro. Years ago, Maduro started offering oil companies contracts. Oil companies wanted to get a license from the U.S.
I did my hate. I just did my little hate light bulb picture of Stephen Miller. But go ahead and keep.
Yeah, going. But no, and the U.S. for whatever reason only gave Chevron a license. So like I said it on a post and notes today. Is it really freedom when the U.S. tells you who you can and can't do business with?
Oh, fuck.
You know what I'm saying? Like if Texaco or ExxonMobil wants to go and extract oil from Venezuela and bring it to the United States, let them. You want access to the oil, lift the sanctions, and let people do business. It's really that simple.
That's what made me think of Stephen Miller again. Because first of all, with that asshole, when he gets on screen, he can never just be like this. He's always like,
yeah.
Well, my dad is the president, and we have absolute authority.
It's the brown people.
He's like a third grader. My dad is the principal, and if you do touch me, he'll cut your hands off. And then he licks his own eye.
Your wife is fucking Elon Musk.
Yeah. And he's the guy who wrote half of Project 2025. I mean, he's kind of in the, and that's the other big distraction because people quit. Because when you start talking about the like rocket ships to Mars and these fucking lunatics, it's like, well, that's not serious. Have you ever done, Shane? Have you ever done a deep dive into where our money even comes from? Like, I've tried to do it like 5 times and it confuses the fuck out of me. Like, somebody prints it and then we have to pay interest to the person who prints it. It makes no fucking sense.
I think the way it works.
Oh God, here we go.
Is Congress will appropriate money. So they say, we're going to do X because money doesn't exist unless the government says it exists. So the idea is when you get rid of the gold standard, then you don't need to have the gold to make the money. Your money is just basically relative to the value overall of the, the economy and what it so basically you just remove physical guardrails. So my understanding is like the Fed or whatever, they'll make an overnight loan or whatever. They have bonds.
Yeah, see, this is already like
the government issues bonds, right? Treasury bonds, and the bonds exist, and then the Treasury and the Fed, they can sell those bonds to give money, but also if they need money, they can just make money. So
basically
whole thing is fucking backwards because they act like it's like, oh, there's a finite amount of money. There's fucking not, because we're no longer matching the amount of currency to what's in the bulk of gold. Yeah. So it doesn't fucking matter. They could make all the money they need to do fucking everything to take care of the American people. They could say, we don't have enough money in the budget to pay for national parks. The fuck you don't. You say we're issuing fucking X amount of money or whatever, and this money is going to be paid to our government workers. And that's how you fix a fucking problem. That's how they did all of these things. You just need to basically create the money. If we were on a gold standard, it would be different.
Or even silver.
Yeah. But we're playing with, this is like I used to say, this is one of the first things I wrote about. And this is like this whole idea of America as an IOU system.
Yeah.
Where our debt is an IOU. I am only worth to a credit card company how much I owe. So you, with a credit card, you're an asset because your labor that you have promised, your money, your economic output, because labor is an input into a system. Okay. Understand that we're not working for the economy. We are the economy. Okay. That's a fucking huge misconception here. We don't work. We don't get to participate in the economy. We are the fundamental basis of the economy. You know what? If these assholes want to use AI for everything, why don't we all just fucking quit? And then they can use AI. Why don't you fucking use AI? All right. Why don't you do that? Because it won't fucking work. Because it won't work. Because the most valuable input is us. We're the fundamental basis. So they've turned us into an asset, and we are the value of that asset can be increased by the amount of debt that person is encouraged to take on.
Yeah, your worth is your economic output. You know what you put out. You are the gross domestic product. You know, you are your piece of that. Yep. What you produce is how how a country derives its value. And you know, when you look at it, you have to start thinking that maybe somebody here in the US is manipulating our GDP and our value, because we're only 350 million compared to the billions in China and the billions in India, you know, so come on now. But it's anyway,
it's the finance sector, dude. It's like finance is like, I remember, I want to say it was like 30% of GDP. I don't quote me on that number, but I just remember looking at it and being like, that's way too fucking much, because all like finance is just IOUs being passed around.
Yeah.
Right? There's no physical, tangible asset there. It's this idea of exponential money, which I think, now that we're talking, I just put two things together. Maybe it's this idea of exponential money that led to this idea of this expectation of an exponential supply chain, which is why they did what they did, is because money has always come easily. Yeah. And as long as they've had money, they've been able to get whatever they need. Yep. Now, they assumed, this is, I always say this, you've probably heard me say this before, but the one assumption they made that fucking unrailed their whole plan is they thought that China needed the United States more than the United States needed China. And they were wrong. And so, as we see these strikes in Venezuela, now in Iran, what I think we might be seeing is them pulling out a plan to destabilize Chinese foreign investment by attacking these countries, because I was looking at the actual money that's in the billions and billions of dollars in Venezuela. Certainly lots probably in Iran. If I were to go look, I would expect to see some pretty large scale investments there as well. So, it's why I've been talking about this a lot, but it's we need to stop listening to Stephen Miller to fucking any press conference, because it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
The truth is behind the curtain, and we just need to step around them and pull that shit back, because follow the money, follow the minerals, follow the rocks, follow the planes. Why are you moving Ghost Rider gunships across across the Atlantic? What you gonna do with those things? The only thing they're good for is Call of Duty kill streaks and fucking blowing shit up from 30,000 feet. I don't care what they say. I don't care what your excuse is. What do you use it for? Why would you spend the money to get it there if you're not going to use it?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm trying to go ahead,
because we're talking about money creation, and I was thinking there's an economist somewhere in our chat.
Yeah.
I was thinking, look at these guys learning economy 101.
Oh shit! Well, they disregard it. It's like asking a chemist to define a mole, and if there's any chemists, they'll know what I mean. But it's hard to explain. But
my brother's a chemist, so
but you know what I mean. It's hard to explain. But in the Constitution,
ethyl phenolate group, I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But in the Constitution, we're not supposed to have a central bank. I was just trying to look real quick too, because that's just blatant corruption. We have a central bank, and it's just sort of I was just trying to look about when the silver standard got abandoned, because it's in the 1920s. That's when the KKK basically ran the government. The last time they got involved there, that's when they started putting their dumbass Confederate statues all over the place to create a false history, because nobody'd been building that shit 5 years after the Civil War. That's just all. And again, it's what I was saying. They took their vinegar, they crawled into this bottle, they sealed it up, and they've been sitting there just feeding themselves nothing but grievance for 150 years and having no power. And we're at this. It's actually worse. What we're at right now is actually more corrupt and worse than the era of the Confederacy, because they're so out of their mind with the shit they're doing. But I wonder if they've manipulated all currencies. It's bad when
about global warming, climate collapse. I don't call it global warming anymore. I call it climate collapse. You know what's happening in Iran?
That's what we are. Yeah.
Yep, we're fucked.
Climate collapse.
It's bad when you understand the value of Bitcoin more than the value of actual money. It's at least Bitcoin, I think of it as just every Bitcoin's like a prime number. They get harder and harder to find. And it's just at least that's limited.
You ready for this? I'm gonna do it again. You know what's crazy about Bitcoin?
Oh,
you gotta mine it. You gotta mine Bitcoin with computers.
Yeah. Hands off. His head's getting too hot.
Rocks. You need rocks.
I need a rock. Bang the rocks together.
You don't have the rocks. You can't do it. You don't own the. Hold on. You don't own the cards. You don't have the rocks. Without the rock, you can't do it. It's not gonna happen.
We got more rocks than you.
Bitcoin crashed in November, big time. All right, through the floor. You know why? Because the cost of computing to make the coin has surpassed the value of the coin, because it now costs more money to make the coin than the coin is worth.
I'm going to calculate it by hand on paper, and I'm going to make a Bitcoin.
You need an abacus?
And carry the two. Whatever.
They can't, Courtney, they can't even make Greenland Crypto Central, because you know what you need to make Greenland Crypto Central? You need to build the facilities to get the rocks out. To do that, you need rocks.
It all comes. We should just be trading rocks
Venezuela has a lot of rocks, man.
They got a lot of rocks. And, they just want China to hurt. So China will give them some fucking rocks.
The rocks theory.
China's not giving them any fucking rocks. Especially when you seize all their oil tankers and all their shit. And it's China's always I'm young, right? But like, Arturo and Walter, you
We're
guys
fucking old.
We're
We're
old,
as old as
yeah.
you guys are just double me. You're halfway there. I'm not. So, but like you guys have watched,
That's a good one.
and grown up, seeing the relationship with China and the United States. Arturo, you've been covering world politics and been there for a while. It's like, look, the relationship between the United States and China has changed big time in the last 20 years. So it's like they always say it's like this idea, this game of like 4D chess. China was planning for this 2 years ago. They've already planned this out. These guys dusted off a plan in some contingency bin and are trying to do it on the fly because, man, they want rocks. And they don't know how to get them rocks. It's all about rocks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're stuck by the ideology of these losers who just lost the Civil War and trotted into the forest and put little cones on their heads and called each other dragons so they feel better about how much big shitty losers they are. And somehow after their little private club came back out, we still have to deal with this shit. And it's just and then we got our own politicians on, supposedly the Democrats, who just they still try to negotiate with those people. You're trying to negotiate with those people.
Yeah, like I think that was it Chuck Schumer was asked about abolishing ICE, wasn't having it. ICE has its functions, this, that, and the other. Hakeem Jeffries was asked if we should be essentially making ICE pay by withholding some of their funding, right? He was against that. So you look at this two-side thing, and I said it the other day, one party is covert and the other one is outwardly overt.
Yeah. Or they could just be stupid. And I mean, because it's like, wasn't it, didn't you say Jeffries even said the word defund? He's like, we don't want to get into a defund situation. So it's a matter of him trying to anticipate the thing that they're going to say so that they can't say it. It's like, first of all, they're going to criticize you no matter what you fucking do. Haven't you figured that out yet? You could be like, hey, let's be nice to puppies. And Republicans will say they're trying to fucking kill cats. They're going to be dishonest. They're going to come up with some bullshit. Don't even fucking worry about them. Just try to actively help people. Just do shit with integrity to help people. It's not that fucking difficult. Don't come up with an excuse because they're going to criticize you for helping people. Don't do their work for them, you fucking more. I'd really love to have Jeffries on here to just kind of talk to him a little bit.
What's up,
a little pep talk. You moron!
Oh shit!
It'd be fun as he started in with his little way. This is what we're gonna do. It's like, no!
I've got some questions for you, and you might want to put on some earplugs because I'm going to scream them in your face.
Yeah.
One thing, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. One thing that bothers me about Jeffries is how he uses his hands.
That's why I just did that.
Is this real? Like all the time? Like is that? I mean, I feel like that's just not how. Can you imagine? Picture Hakeem Jeffries talking to his wife or his best friend. You think he's throwing the hands around? Probably not. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a show. It's an act. I don't know. I don't want to criticize somebody for that, but still,
I love it.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Expelliarmus!
Maybe it's sending signals. Maybe that's some psycho Republican Democrat. It's like baseball. They got their signs. Like, I'm not going to do any of this shit. Don't worry about it.
It's the Illuminati.
The secret society is still in effect. The secret agreements are still in effect. I'm just trying to get elected again. Hakeem hands. Somebody said that.
Hakeem hands.
Yeah. I was just thinking another name. I need to make some Walter Bucks. That's what I'm thinking. Like everybody else has money. I need some Walter Bucks.
Let's
put my face on there.
Cryptocurrency, guys.
Yeah.
Why don't
I'm gonna make it out of rocks. I'm making it out of rocks. And the easiest thing is I throw them at you. That's how they get their value. Here's a Walter Buck. You're welcome. Then I'll tax deduct it because I'm giving away my wealth.
Throw a chunk of lithium at Elon Musk. Here you go, bitch.
He'd probably snort it. He'd snort it right up. Mega mind. Yeah. I think we're off the rails. Are we off the rails, Arturo? Bring us back.
I think so, man. I think we lost it.
Bring us back in.
we've lost the plot.
Yeah,
Well,
what is
if
the
you
plot?
can't laugh right now, it's either that or having. I feel better now than I did yesterday when I was just like fucking broken by all the evil of the world.
Yeah,
for, like,
even
3
like
straight days.
even like I did recorded an interview for DC radio. It's going to be out today on WPFW, and even in that conversation, Egberto Willies was on there with me, and we couldn't help but laugh at some things. You know what I mean? You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
When I was on live with Marlon last night, you have to laugh at shit. Otherwise, you're gonna go bonkers, man. So
Yeah.
I
That's an evolutionary response. So we preserve our sanity and we can continue for another 5 minutes.
I post stupid shit all the time just to do it, and then people are like, this isn't a journalistic post. I'm like, it's social media, man. I'm allowed to be a person, right? Come on now.
Yeah.
It conveys the truth. It conveys the truth often. Like just pointing out like the complete absurdity of it. Like I was saying the other day, it's like, okay, so now the official direction from the US government is like, if you're driving along and some lunatic's out there who's waving a gun, screaming at you to stop, I'm supposed to tell my wife, well, you just have to comply with that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you see some lunatic with his face covered, you just have to stop and do what he says.
That'll get you shot here in Texas, man.
Bullshit.
Top to bottom, that's a violation of every single fucking statute and law. That's what I was thinking when I was watching that too. I'm like, not only did he not have probable cause, not only did she not need to comply with his order, not only did she have every right to drive away, but he fucking killed her.
Right. And that,
top to bottom.
That's the thing about qualified immunity too, is once you violate someone's civil rights, qualified immunity does not apply. Correct. So if you're abusive to somebody and then you beat the daylights out of them and they end up in jail with no teeth, qualified immunity doesn't apply in that case. So, the problem you have with these agents is obviously Trump with the executive order saying he's going to unleash police and ICE. And then the White House telling them, aside from be camera ready because they spent $200 million on propaganda stuff, but then telling them that they're immune.
That means cover up the SS tattoos,
right? And if you guys watched, I don't know if you guys have watched that documentary. It came out on HBO Max, The Critical Incident: Death at the Border. Jen Budd is in that, and they go through the critical incident teams at Border Patrol and how they clean up crime scenes before the law enforcement gets there. Yeah. So they talked to some cops who showed up at crime scenes where Border Patrol killed somebody. And they're like, when we got there was no crime scene. Everything had been picked up. All the evidence, bullet casings. They did the same thing in Minneapolis. They, manipulated the body, picked up bullet casings. They cleaned up that scene before law enforcement got there. And when I reading about that and seeing that, I automatically thought back to Jen Budd, who's been saying this for years about these critical incident teams. And like you watch the documentary, which for whatever reason was delayed for 2 years. You watch it now, and then you see what happened in Minneapolis, and you cannot not draw that connection. It's there. You can't ignore it. Like they literally did what they've been doing at the border this whole time when they kill somebody. Yeah. And they get away with murder. Yeah. And they honestly, they get off on it as evidenced by some dude who shot a lady in the face and was filming it when he did it.
In the fucking face.
And that's a shout out. Let's do a shout out too to all those people, those brave people making videos and posting those videos. Keep doing that. Dude. Everybody get your hands on your camera, start recording that shit, put it straight on. It's live on Substack. It might get to the point I wanted to tell everybody too. If I'm live broadcasting something and some shit happens, just pull out your phone, get a video of what's live broadcasting. I might not get to the point where I can repost the replay. It'll exist. But make as many copies as possible because they keep, scrubbing the evidence is the word. They're trying to do it. That's why they've bought up. That's why the oligarchs have bought up literally every media source. Yeah. And we're supposed to break up those monopolies. The demise of the fairness doctrine has brought us to this. I was going to ask you though too, Arturo. I mean, there's all those provisions in the Patriot Act that give them this bullshit immunity. You think that'll ever turn up in the Supreme Court? That'll get challenged or overruled?
I mean,
we lost him. I'm sorry.
No, he said he was coming right back. But a lot of the stuff that's in the Patriot Act had been challenged previously, and some of the Patriot Act had to be changed to accommodate certain rulings. I don't remember all. There was quite a few, but there are a lot of loopholes in the Patriot Act, and the fact that there isn't any kind of an accountability mechanism for Homeland Security in general, including every agency underneath them, makes it really hard to hold them accountable. These guys, like, when you look at what happened in Minneapolis and you see all the times that they've killed people at the border, killed people in detention centers and things like that, the accountability measures just aren't there. It's local prosecutors that hold these guys accountable. You see Border Patrol agents, Jen Budd talks about this all the time, how they're getting arrested for sexual assault, sexual violence against migrants in detention centers or women in their communities. These guys they have this mindset because it's drilled into them that they are above the law. I did an article for Unicorn Riot a year or two ago about CBP's, Border Patrol's, growing reach over U.S. citizens. And, they have power 100 miles away from the border, but they set up checkpoints and they pull U.S. citizens over 99% of the time, to ask them if they're U.S. citizens. And it's just crazy because 100 miles from the border, you're not catching people who just crossed the border, and it's just ridiculous to think that Border Patrol has these authorities over the civilian population when their purview is immigration, right? When it comes to Border Patrol or CBP in general, their stuff is related to the border, customs stuff, people bringing in things at the airport. They have nothing to do with me driving to the corner store, because we're here in Houston. Most of us are within that 100-mile thing. And there's no way in hell they're going to set up checkpoints in a city like Houston. That's just not going to fly. But in South Texas, they're everywhere. In Southern California, they're everywhere. And there's just a lot of stuff that just blows right through the Fourth Amendment, right through the Fifth Amendment. If they ask you if you're a citizen and you exercise your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, they're going to pull you over to the side. They're going to make you get out of the car. They're going to start checking, running your plates, running all your stuff to try to verify that you're a U.S. citizen. And in that process, they somehow develop probable cause to start searching your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that there's just this overreaching authority, and the fact that Border Patrol is operating under ICE's authority, and ICE has authority all over the country. They're bringing that violence everywhere.
Yeah.
To places not even near the border or a coast. And yeah, that's how they get away with it. And until you get rid of the Patriot Act and the agency, Homeland Security itself, it's just not going to go away.
I've heard AOC denounce those things. Are there other politicians who are actively talking? Because it seems like it just gets no traction, and that's another problem. It's like the general public is not rising up to shoot this shit down. It's a clear and present danger to our families.
Right. And it's weird because a lot of people don't want to be the defund the police person. That's what it is, right? You don't want to say we need to abolish ICE or we need to abolish Homeland Security because people will probably be like, no, we don't, and be all angry about it without thinking it through. But if you talk to a lot of these far-right militia people, they will agree with you that DHS needs to go.
That's fascinating right there. That's really good.
Right, because
that's how we get through to the MAGA then.
Right.
Maybe.
So like a lot of Homeland Security on the far right has always been one of these, they're, overusing their authority. And if anybody knows about the Homeland Security, it's these militia types. The thing about that is they're watching Homeland Security be weaponized against immigrants and U.S. citizens, and they're not doing shit. The reason for that is because they're MAGA, they're right wing. It's not being, they're supposedly there to fight tyranny, but apparently it's only tyranny when they're going after white people in rural America. They don't give a damn about when they're using that tyranny in inner cities. Yeah. And that's essentially been the case, like you said, since the beginning, the Confederacy, all this shit.
Yeah.
When the government starts being weaponized against those particular white folks, then you'll see it. I do have some hope in seeing Jesse Ventura speak out about the shooting. He did an interview outside of that school where ICE agents were firing tear gas at students and stuff. And the thing that gets me about Jesse Ventura, right? He did all these documentaries back in the day. You probably remember them about the FEMA detention centers, how they were going to start housing Americans and these things. And let's face it, to Jesse Ventura, he was worried about white people being thrown in those detention centers. When those detention centers ended up being for immigration, Jesse Ventura went silent. And I noticed that right away. But then to see Jesse Ventura come out and speak out against ICE and DHS because they killed a white woman speaks volumes to me too. But the fact that he's speaking out might actually activate some of these libertarian militias to start pushing back on ICE. I mean, I hope it does.
They get to feel immune anymore.
Yeah.
I think this was obviously. I think a lot of these ICE shootings aren't planned.
No,
I don't think this guy was instructed to go shoot someone in Minneapolis. I think that they put these people in these positions.
They want it to happen.
Well,
they're just mixing shit together. An explosion just happened. They didn't know that.
They're very reactionary. I mean, I think they respond to opportunities. Like
absolutely.
I think they see this person kill a white woman and they're like, okay, well, we need to normalize this.
Yeah.
That's our focus. We need to normalize this so we can shoot white people.
I want to say too, they've that rote conditioning we always talk about, because the right is just constant with their hate conditioning, and especially like, you know, because I think it was Laura Loomer, they showed Nicole Good's Renee Nicole Good's profile, and it said she, her, or something. So like, see the pronoun thing, and so they use their constant hate conditioning, so that when they murder somebody, then they're like, well, let's find something that we've already programmed our base to hate. Oh, look. It just goes back to us. And what Arturo said before is really important too. The various propaganda narratives. I saw even Obama came out and he's like, well, we can't have these catchy phrases like defund the police. He's like, no, our job is to reprogram the American public, where they're just like, you know what? I'm sick of having police murder my kids. I'm kind of sick of that shit. And other countries have police forces that are perfectly effective, that don't have guns and don't go run around murdering their citizens. And we just have to normalize those discussions. And it feels impossible, but that feeling is just because there's been that propaganda narrative, again, funded by the stolen labor of all the most evil people throughout history, that they've stolen this money. And it's our job to keep talking about that, get people reactivated to overcome that hate conditioning, so we can start having a society that fucking functions.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's, I hear Democrats and I remember James Clyburn saying this, and like sloganeering doesn't win elections. And I'm like, have you seen how Trump got into office? Because he won with sloganeering, America first, make America great again. That's how he won, because everybody on the dog whistles.
He's short an N on that.
Make America great again represents all the things these, you know, white people who feel like there's something they're losing something by giving other people rights.
Yeah.
You know, America first says all those things to them.
Yep.
That's how
that was a Klan slogan too. America first is a Klan slogan.
That's how dog whistles work.
It's there. People just have to look. You wanted to put hand count, I assume. Also,
hand count.
Yeah. Also, I was wondering, Shane,
I thought it said handout.
Can you make your little thing an oval rather than a circle? No, don't do that. That's a juvenile joke.
That's funny.
Okay, guys. Now it says the right thing. So if you guys want to sign the petition to have a hand count in Wisconsin. For
every election, we need hand counts. We need to demand, and the Democrats capitulate on that fucking thing too. It's like, there's no reason to not have a hand count for every fucking election. Well, it costs a lot. Well, what about the value of all the people who fucking died because we allowed an authoritarian nightmare to seize, you know, the levers of control in this country? That's a lot. And just the indifference to the value of human life in the United States is really starting to fucking piss me off. And I bet I'm catching up with a lot of people who've known, but it's like, God damn it, let's just be mad about this. I'm as, you know, all the lives lost in Venezuela, I was shed a tear for them too. I mean, if those people in South America are so wonderful, they're such kind, wonderful people, even though every fucking time the United States has a chance, it fucks around with their governments and installs these lunatic right-wing dictators, which collapse the economy and cause them to come to the the immigrants come then. It's entirely because of the fucking transgressions of the United States and South America, that never comes as part of the, maybe if we stop fucking around with the governments down there, let them have their progressive leaders that they democratically elect. I'm not saying that was the case with Maduro, but it's been often the case down there. And just people need to start talking about that more. Sorry to derail it.
Good.
Yeah, no, it's the thing. I don't know. We meddled in 3 elections this year in Latin America: Bolivia, Chile, and Honduras. And threatening to end remittances. Where families send money back home. Things like that. Donald Trump said it several times that he would end remittances if they didn't elect his candidate. That there would be hell to pay if they didn't elect his candidate, that they would cut funding for certain programs, aid fundings, trade deals, all these things. And that's manipulation. You know what I mean? You just scared a population into voting for far-right candidates. And in Chile, the son of a Nazi.
Dude, I know.
Nazi. So, it's just astounding to me. They're like the Venezuela election, for example. Like, I still don't know who won it. Because you look at the opposition's data and it's just not good. It's, a lot of forgery, all the signatures on these tally sheets are all the same. They're not certified. They don't have the thumbprint. They don't have the inked signatures. There's a lot of anomalies. And then, Maduro doesn't release precinct data. Yeah. So I have nothing to compare things to. None of us do. So we really don't know what happened. But then you look at how there were 10 candidates and 9 of those 10 candidates validated Maduro as the winner. The one who didn't was Machado's party, who didn't want to participate in the audit. And then you start thinking, well, maybe the U.S. did meddle in that election.
The CIA
maybe it was bullshit,
there, right?
Maybe Maduro won. I don't know. I still don't know to this point because the data on both sides is just incomplete. Yeah. But to suggest that he lost based on data that has obvious fraud in it with forged signatures and 90% of those tally sheets haven't been certified, so they can't be validated as authentic. You can't use that to say Maduro lost. So again, it's one of those things where honestly, it's none of our fucking business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's Venezuela's problem. It's not for us to say, well, we think he lost. Let's go kidnap him.
Yeah.
That's just absurd, and it's illegal under international law for a reason.
Under that logic, the world should be intervening in our elections right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? I mean, come on.
Come Canada, come down here because our elections are getting fucking meddled with. That doctrine in of itself is you can't be pro-democracy, but pro-interventionist. Okay?
Yeah.
That logic, that's the whole thing with them. The logic doesn't exist. If you use your brain
all by design.
At all, it falls through the fucking floor.
Yeah. And it's such a problem. And even if you're just pointing out reasonable things, it's because we're not sitting there saying it's maybe he did. It's we're just saying you don't have the evidence to show. You don't have the evidence to say that definitively. So the media is running with this, and we're just hey, hold on a second. Let's just verify. Oh, how dare you be an apologist for that dictator? It's just I wasn't doing that at all. I was just saying you're misrepresenting this.
Right. And here's the thing. I don't even like the guy. But one, it's not for me to lie. My opinion doesn't matter about him. That's a Venezuelan problem. And secondly, I'm not about to start lying for a bunch of billionaires who want to go to war with people who didn't do anything to us and are no threat to us. Why lie about it? If all these other things about Maduro are true, why is he not being charged with those crimes? Why are we manufacturing drug charges and accusing him of trying to secure automatic weapons? I mean, doesn't every president try to secure weapons? That's just kind of par for the course, right? So why are we charging him with these drug charges when all of our intelligence reports say he's not a drug smuggler?
Yeah.
So if he really was this bad, if he really did kill 20,000 people, which he didn't, by the way, then that's what he would be in court for. And I think it's really just exposes everything the Trump administration did this year about creating narratives and getting intelligence agencies to walk away from, no, he's not a drug dealer, to start carrying the White House's line. it exposes just how easily and just how fast our government can develop false narratives about other leaders to manufacture consent to go to war.
I also want to say they're trying to say they did this for the good of Venezuelan people. It's like, you assholes have spent the last year hunting down Venezuelans like they're animals, sending them to torture death camps in El Salvador without any kind of legal process, and all of a sudden you fucking try to claim you care about the people of Venezuela. I've been saying I want guarantees the United States doesn't intend to fucking murder them all, and I want you to be asking that question to KKK Caroline just to make her answer it, because you've been hunting them, you fucking assholes. You don't care about their life. You just flew in there and murdered 100 of them or more. It's like, it's like, we just passively let them say this shit. And it's like, this is where I really get pissed off at the mainstream legacy media. Some jackass can get on the news and start saying, well, it's for the good of the Venezuelan people. It's like, why have you been fucking hunting them for a year, you piece of shit?
Well, look at the photos from Elizabeth Raven, right? Like, I was looking at she'd share. There is no military reason to be bombing research centers.
Right.
So there's no military reason to be bombing apartment buildings. There's like, and what is Venezuela doing right now? Is the United States running Venezuela? Fuck no, they're in the streets protesting against American intervention. Yeah. They're in the streets saying, do not engage with America. Do not let their companies into our country. Do not let them bully Venezuela into compliance. They don't get to kill us and then exploit our resources. That's what the people of Venezuela, that's what I'm saying, guys. What they say doesn't fucking matter. Look at Venezuela. You want to know what's going on in Venezuela? Ask a Venezuelan. Look at what Elizabeth Raven is telling us. Look at what the Venezuelan media is reporting. Yeah. Don't listen to fucking Stephen Miller's not in charge of shit.
Yep.
He's in charge of fucking munching on cardboard in the closet. Like
the other thing is too, is our media, essentially every narrative, every question they ask, everything is based on like an ownership, idea of ownership of Venezuela. What are we going to do next? What are our next steps? They never mention the Venezuelan people. All the press conferences, like I watched Marco Rubio all weekend and up until yesterday, and I published.
Fuck that guy.
I published an article.
Rubio talking about when he's trying to make jokes. He's high.
Yeah, I was listening to what he's saying, and
he's always on drugs, or you think this is a reaction to?
No, he has connections to drug smuggling and all kinds of shit from back in the day. Dude's a druggie for sure. In my opinion. Your
Honor, yeah.
He is 100% a druggie, in my opinion.
The entire context of this and every other episode and every time I mention anything is my opinion and my opinion only, just to make that clear.
Let me sprinkle a lot of allegedly here.
Yeah. We should just make that the background. This is our opinion. Yeah.
Allegedly, right?
Disclaimer. Everything said here is a opinion. These are our opinions.
Let Arturo finish his thought.
In fact, maybe we can just redefine opinion to mean fact, right? Because they stole the word facts. So what if we just turn opinions, and it's my opinion that the government is entirely corrupt.
Yeah.
The facts say, well, I don't care because it's my opinion and I can have my own opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion doesn't care about the facts. Well, you can play at that game.
Yeah.
Caroline, leave it. Leave it. Bad Caroline. Leave it.
All right, let's let Arturo finish this if he remembers it. If he can still.
I'm sorry.
The thing with Rubio was, he's framing this whole narrative about ownership, and then when they asked him, here's the thing that gets me too about that election in 2024. They asked him about Maria Corina Machado and Edmundo Gonzalez, the presumed winner of the 2024 election, right? The presumed president of Venezuela. They asked him about installing her or installing him as president in their interim government. And he dodged the question. And just like Trump said, no, we're not going to install them because they don't have the support in the country. But didn't they just win an election with supposedly 70% of the vote? I mean, come on. Like they're blowing up their own narratives. And then Rubio follows that up with, how they intend to use the blockade of oil to influence who becomes the leader. So essentially, if they leave it up to Venezuelans and they elect another Maduro, they're just going to keep the oil blockade. They're going to keep that pressure on there. Not only that, they're going to steal 30 to 50 million barrels of oil. They're going to sell it on the market. And the White House is going to control Venezuela's money. Do you really think Venezuelans are going to go for that? Hell no. Hell no. Yeah. I've been saying this a lot. They are as nationalist as we are about their independence. Their independence was from Spain. Simón Bolívar is a highly regarded
all of South
figure.
America. Yeah.
Right. All of South America. He was funded by
Bolivia
the Haitians.
Is named after it.
And he was funded by Haitians who overthrew in the slave revolt. The Haitians funded Bolivar to liberate Latin America. So like there's this huge connection to all these anti-colonialist things. And Venezuelans are as nationalists about their independence as we are. Would you accept another country controlling our money? Hell no. Under zero circumstances would I accept that. Would I accept somebody stealing 50 million barrels of our oil? Fuck no. Yeah. I mean, come on, let's be realistic here. These narratives that we're seeing in the media are echoing Marco Rubio and the White House without any scrutiny, without any challenging. Their questions are, it really seems like you didn't have a plan after taking Maduro out. What are the next steps for the United States and Venezuela? Fuck the United States and Venezuela. Ask Venezuelans. There are 30 million people there. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Never once do you hear them talk about Venezuelan people.
The world still treats America like it gets to dictate its own terms, like it has the leverage, like it has the political and the expertise to do any of these things. Like, all they succeeded in doing was kidnap Maduro. That's it. That's all they did. That's it. They killed a bunch of innocent people, and they kidnapped Maduro. And a couple Americans were wounded. So they put people there. They failed to get regime change. They further entrenched the regime and in their approval from the base, the populace of Venezuela, because, of course, fighting against an enemy or an invader is going to improve your thing, your standing. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's just, that's kind of, I feel like what the common topic for today was just like, it's all fucking lies and bullshit, whether it's covering up the systemic issues in our economy and our trade with China, whether it's covering up the fact that ICE is a bunch of murderers and criminals and thugs who feel that they can extrajudicially kill anyone at this point, regardless of race or, age or gender or sex or anything like that. They don't really care whether it's, the international like politics, like controlling another country.
It's all connected to Christian white nationalism.
Yep.
It's
and I wanted people
connected to Christian white nationalism.
Well, and when people have this tendency to be like, oh, this doesn't represent us, or they try to make it like, oh, we're the victim, like Russia interfered here. This is America's problem. This is the true face of America. White supremacy. A friend of mine said, because people often say America has no cultural ideology. No, the cultural ideology of America is white supremacy.
There you go.
And we need to fix that shit. And you say that to white people, they're just like, no, it can't be that. It's got to be other things. It's like, look, we all have to do the hard work. This is a white supremacist regime, and don't say it's the Nazis. The Nazis were based on Jim Crow laws. The Nazis, when they were sitting there writing the Nuremberg laws, they're like, well, let's make it like the Jim Crow laws, but not that sadistic, because those Jim Crow laws are fucked up. We gave birth to the Nazis. The worst sins of America have been tormenting the world for 200 years. And it's like, you could even make the whole argument. I mean, the slave trade started. The church said we have a right to enslave heretics. And then once the heretics, once the slaves realize, oh, if I convert to Christianity, I can be free. The church says, we'll just equate race to sin. So that's where racism comes from. This whole white supremacy era, you read the Cornerstone speech at the end of the Civil War, that's the founding document of white supremacy. It's here. This is the American shame. This is what America has given to the world. And we have to start recognizing that's what we have to overcome. And it comes up in things like the unconscious bias of the media. We passively consume the media and never ask, why aren't they talking to a Venezuelan directly? We get the news from a white guy who claims to have talked to a Venezuelan. Okay, let's hear it directly from that person. That person can speak. And we just sit and passively allow this. And this is why I say all white people have to recognize that they have been conditioned against their will to just maintain white supremacy. Even if you're not actively racist, you passively enable racism unless you recognize this fundamental sin of our country. And this is just what I constantly work on.
That's what the news is doing when they're essentially declaring ownership over Venezuela, right? That's what they do when they parrot police, statements without scrutinizing them.
Yes.
They villainize black people, they villainize Latinos, but then when it's, a white person victim, there's this, beautiful picture of them as a teenager, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when it's anybody else, it's a mugshot, it's a crappy picture, it's always something. And, there are people who perpetuate white supremacy without knowing it.
Yes.
There are a lot of people, there are a lot of liberals who will say, I'm liberal. There's no way I'm racist. I'm sorry, but I'm sure there is. I
recognize I'm racist now. I'm racist right now. I've been working on this. I've been trying to recover this shit. I'm trying to get better, but it's just so deeply ingrained, and it's stuff you never even thought to question. Like those thoughts of like when people say, oh, human beings are just going to exploit each other. If you have that assumption, that's an assumption of white supremacy. Every accusation is a confession. Everything that they say is they just assume it's true. That's why we get Scott Jennings who sits there just like, he's just like, well, I just know. And he's just referencing all these things because we've had it programmed into us. It's fused with the cultural identity of the United States. And we have to extract it. We have to think of it as like bone cancer. We have to do this delicate surgery. We have to constantly unravel these layers of white supremacy because white people have to do it. It's a responsibility of white people because they're the ones who are passively allowing it to continue to exist. And it's killing us. It's killing the whole world. And it is.
It is killing the whole world. Like, I wrote a whole piece about it. If you go to my archive, go read it. The Black Swans of Climate Collapse. I talked about it. Look, so we could see, like, I'm for real when I say that I think we could see the AMOC collapse by 2030. You know what that means? That's a meter level of sea rise on the East Coast.
Oh, fuck.
For real, guys. Like, because we don't know what industry in Russia is doing. We don't know the level of pollution in China. We know that our Navy pollutes like crazy. We have the biggest carbon footprint in the world. The Navy has never done an audit on their emissions. Every ship is diesel, guys. Every single one. Okay. Yeah. You know what happens on the East Coast when that happens? Look, we had 3 Category 5s last year. Okay. Those 3 Category 5 hurricanes made up 70% of the overall meteorological energy of storms last year. That's our backyard. Guys, when it hits Texas, when it hits Florida, when it hits somewhere and our FEMA doesn't exist, if the AMOC shuts down, good, we're going to see Category 7s. I'm serious because we don't know where the ceiling is environmentally. Right. We've only been tracking hurricanes since the 1800s at best. So we don't know where the ceiling is. We've never seen Earth this hot. We've never seen
look to Venus. Look to Venus and see what kind of hurricanes they get.
Right?
That's overrun with greenhouse effect.
Like, this is a fact that's crazy. Every degree of
it rains sulfuric acid in Venus.
Every degree of atmospheric warming allows for 7% more moisture to be held in the atmosphere. You know what this year has been? Floods everywhere you look. Floods. Why? That's weird, right? Like, even in California, I'm in SoCal, guys, and I'm like, damn, like, we getting how much rain right now?
Yeah.
We don't get this much rain. The whole world is getting wetter.
That's why they want to go to Mars. That's why they're like, maybe that they're just like, this planet's fucked. We can get the hell out of here. Let's strip mine it as fast as we can. Kill all the people by taking their health care. Actually, that's probably what they're thinking. It's probably honestly it.
Yeah, in Miami, I always think it's crazy because we talk about this stuff, but in Miami, whenever there's like the King Moon, the really, really big full
King Moon. I'll show you King Moon.
I think that's what they call it. Anyway, the ocean floods the streets.
Yeah.
It comes up through the it comes up through the storm sewers.
Video about that. It's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy, and then when you consider like you know, a lot of New Orleans is under sea level. Parts of Houston are under sea level. Like we could lose quite a bit with just a little bit of sea rise. You know, I
Look
mean,
at a map. Everyone here, I challenge you, go look at a map of sea level rise. So we're locked in for 5 meters no matter what,
yeah,
because of how much heat
Fuck.
and everything that's already happened. Now, physics says it can only take it's going to take a certain amount of time because the ice can only melt so fast, you know, but Earth also is not a perfect sphere. So different parts of Earth are higher and lower, different amounts of water can be in different places. You know, the question we should be asking our politicians is, how are you preparing American communities for climate collapse? How are you going to protect your constituents from this imminent change? Because, you know, in 100 years, Wall Street's underwater, period.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're going to be rowing a canoe to the stock exchange.
yeah.
So
Well, that
how are you
road
going to deal with that?
Well, that
Because-
road conditioning again, because they've made climate change. It's just like defund the police. We can't even hardly talk about it. And that's
Right.
where all the problems are in the United States. Everybody's been so conditioned that we don't even address the real problems. And that's why it's hard to have faith in our elections, because the general population is so ignorant of all the truth, because they haven't ever had their brains activated where they don't even bother to challenge things. Hopefully we'll start to question authority a little bit now that they're out shooting people in the face, you know, and we'll get to that point. But yeah, we got a lot of work to do and not too much time to get it done.
I think that, you know, in U.S. society, anytime we're trying to have a civil discussion about things like climate change or race issues, if somebody comes screaming to shut you down, you're supposed to just push that person away. Like, no, you're not part of the conversation. Yeah. The problem we have in this country is we give that person too much of a voice, too much space. We should not give that person any space.
Yes.
If you want civil discourse, let's have it. If you're not willing to have civil discourse, or you're going to be dishonest about it, just go back to the barn where you came from, you know, like, or wherever.
Yes. Stop them on the first lie. When I'm reading comments, the second I get to a lie, I'm like, oh, that's the end. Block. I'm not going any further. Oh, I sent Shane a comment. Somebody sent me the other day. It was kind of funny. Somebody accusing me of being just a hate monger and everything. We can talk about that maybe in a couple of weeks.
Well, yeah. So I love you guys so much. I haven't even been watching the clock, and I'm supposed to start my paid subscriber live stream. 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
We gotta go do
shit.
that.
No.
That's okay. We'll still make it the time for you guys. So if you're not a paid subscriber, we're gonna go watch Kim Jong-un propaganda videos for 45 minutes. So you know, it's gonna be fun. So if you're here and you're a paid subscriber, I'm literally going to go straight into the paid sub live after this. So make sure you come over. But, you know, before that, you know, the rant, I'm changing things a little bit. The rant's not going anywhere. It's just going to be a bi-monthly show until we get the people on board and the support at the Firebrand Project to be able to get me the time to do these things more consistently. So, but until then, make sure you guys go. We're going to start top right, top left here. Arturo, go to his Substack, support his work. Arturo, give yourself, you know, a little plug, and then we'll plug Walter next year.
Well, you know, essentially, you know, decolonize journalism. I contextualize the news. I don't make it white centered. I don't make it imperialist centered. I don't, you know, I scrutinize everything the government says, and I give the government hell about it a lot. So. Yeah, it can be fun. It can be trying. But yeah, we cover a lot of ugly stuff over here. And I'm on social media, same handle as Substack at Extreme Arturo. Find me everywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Arturo's the man, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
And then right here, for some reason, Walter, I had your
not even an apostrophe. God damn it. The apostrophe budget went out the window. Yeah.
I'm trying to do it on the fly. So
I'm gonna start throwing you some Walter bucks.
Picture. So let me see if I have it here somewhere. I'll look for it for a minute. But go ahead and plug yourself.
Oh yeah. All you wonderful people, thanks so much for being here. We'll love you all. And yeah, lately, God, everything changes so much. At some point, I'm gonna go back to just writing fairy stories. Like, here's the doll my daughter made. This is the character from
cool.
our yeah. She made it for me for Christmas. But it's like, you know, in the meantime, I'm still fighting white supremacy, and I do my regular talks with Nick, which are so fun, and with Will. Will Fullwood really helps me out. He's the one who's been helping me kind of explore I've been really trying to come up with the language to help other white people kind of understand, because we're not equipped to fight right now. The reality is we're not seeing what the enemy is. And it is empowering when you recognize that the enemy is this white supremacy, emotionally stunted group. They're as fragile as a dormouse once you rip the curtain away. Nothing they do works. They're all filled with self-loathing because they don't have any talents. They can't build anything. So instead of building things, they just claim credit for things that have already existed, thumping their name on the sides of buildings like the Kennedy Center, which even though they had nothing to do with that shit. So it's an ongoing process, friends. And it's just like, everybody have grace with yourself. It's hard topic sometimes, but it's like, it's non-judgmental. Will said to me too, I mean, as a racialized black man, he's like, I too have been indoctrinated with white supremacy ideology. It's a toxic mind virus that hurts us. And as we eradicate it, we're still discovering more things about it. We come up with the language to fix it, remove it from our thoughts. It makes you a better spouse. It makes you a better friend. It makes you a better father or parent. And so please just join me on that. It's a long-term thing. Everybody has grace, be it at your own level. I talk about it all the time. And I also share funny drawings and silly stories sometimes. So there's a lot of good stuff. And me raging. Yeah. I'll rage. I know Melissa likes that.
Hey, yeah. If your daughters want to draw a background for the Friday rant.
I'll get her on that.
Yeah.
I'll have to send her pictures. Send me
send her the picture of our
some celebrity shots, some 8x10s of you guys, like ones you want me to do. Should your hair be flowing, like flowing hair? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, me and Arturo, our hair has to be flowing in the wind.
The three of us. It can be like Charlie's. It can be like Charlie's Angels. Yeah. What should be we should be holding like rocks though instead of guns. So I almost got the camera spew.
I'm like holding a chunk of like germanium and a chunk of like platinum. You know, Walter's got a big stack of lithium over his head. You know,
I gotta time the joke so right when Arturo takes a drink, I hit him with the joke and he goes and spits right into the camera.
You almost got me, man. Almost got me.
Awesome. Oh, that made me happy.
Thank you. If you guys want to support my Substack as well as supporting these guys, of course, you can scan this QR code. You can click on the little Chiron thing in the top left-hand corner to easily subscribe to all of us as well. This year, I'm really focusing my efforts. I'm working on making a behemoth of a newsletter and a live stream show every day that's really targeting geopolitics, economics, and all the things that help us kind of get a good big picture thing going on. So that's what I'm focused on. I've developed these new infographics I've done in the last 3 reports, and they're getting better, but they're super awesome. You can process an entire complex geopolitical situation just with a little image. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And it's for folks if you want to skim it. If you're a skimmer or a visual learner, you can choose to read, you can choose to watch, and you can choose to just skim through and look at the pictures.
I'm an olfactory learner. Can you
I don't have
that when I was taking my teaching class.
I'll work on it. But it's a cool way to do things. I'm working on it. We have these shows like this they're still going to be going on in 2026, and I'm working on bringing on the first member of the think tank. So it's a good time to come over and join the Firebrand Project, because with a researcher on board,
you get burned on the Firebrand.
That deep research, that investigative stuff as well, as well as the newsletter. So it'll be really cool. So go subscribe over here as well. For all of us, free, of course, paid, incredible. That's a huge way to support us. So,
and restack. I love those likes. I love the likes, but please restack, everybody. Please.
So many likes.
Just click. This is all you have to do.
Yeah, and for the infographics, everyone feel free, I post them. So if you think it's worth sharing the infographic, go ahead. Maybe until I can figure out, I have it trademarked in my little thing, but until I can figure out how to maybe put a little watermark on there, I'll figure that out today, so you guys can share that, more broadly. But Walter, you're killing me, bro. But that's it. I don't know. The rant, we ranted like crazy. We almost hit 2 hours. We came back swinging, and
rage party. Dance with me, Arturo. Dancing with me. There he goes.
We'll see you guys. in 2 weeks. So with that said, everyone, if you're a paid sub, watch it. I'm literally going to be coming back. Let's watch Kim Jong-un do some funny stuff. It'll be great.
Awesome.
And with that said, everyone, thank you so much. Of course, burn bright, resist, and we will talk to you all later.
Yeah!